TV's Noah here, and welcome back once again to Solving the Witness, a laid-back annotated Let's Play of Jonathan Blow's The Witness. We start this video with an apology. I know I haven't put one of these out in quite some time, but I was working on some other projects and trying to do something else with this channel, and it's about time I get back to my roots. So now we're going to dive back in to The Witness. And if you watched the previous episode that came out forever ago, I mentioned that we're teasing going into the mountain, or the volcano rather, but we're not actually going to go into it. I lied! I forgot I do actually go into the mountain in this episode. So please enjoy Solving the Witness. Boom. Here we are. Going into mountain. Oh, the triumph. Oh, it feels good. I'm just going to look up at this box. Oh, look at the line. What? Am I missing a laser? Yes, I am in fact missing a laser. This will be corrected eventually. Is there a laser in the mountain? Is there a mountain laser? Alright, we will be back. Okay, so this is something that's real important to me. Where is this spot? Because this is a theory that I want to replay it for this reason. I've thought about this TV, which slowly comes in and out of focus here. I should be able to go find this camera, right? If this is a live feed, if this is supposed to be a live feed, and it is because you can see the lasers. Did I just break that? What happened there? So where is this camera? It seems to be near the lake, pointed at... yeah, it looks like it's above the lake, pointed at the mountain. And there's another screen here, right? Where is this? I know exactly where that is. And that one's moving. So I should really be able to go find that one. It should be moving. And then this is desert and moving. Oh my god, that's the treehouse and moving. I should really be able to find that easily. This one's got speed. So I did some research when it comes to these screens that are scattered throughout the mountain that appear to show different areas of the island, implying that this whole adventure that you've been on has been monitored. So it kind of implies that there is a person or a group of people who are, let's see, what's the right word, witnessing all of your progress that you are making throughout the game. However, there's a lot of evidence that this is not true. If you really look, it does not appear like the ocean is moving in any of these shots. So even though the camera is moving, nothing on the island is actively moving. These are actually stills, which is very, very strange. Also, they do not reflect your actual progress. So this is not something that I've personally tested, but I did some research. I went back through the Witness Iceberg, and it has been found that what you are seeing is not actually linked to your progress. So if you went in there with different lasers activated, you wouldn't see that reflected in these pictures. If you went in there and the treetop area was set up differently, it would not affect these screens. It is not tied to progress. So, what does that mean? Now, the easy answer is this is a video game and those are just assets, and it's much easier to put a still asset in rather than link it to what's actually there, because you would either have to create multiple screenshots and then put the correct one in, or actually include cameras and have it actually be like a live shot. But chances are, this being a video game, when you're inside the mountain, the treehouse area is probably not even loaded, so it really can't do that. So what is it? Another way to look at it, if it's not just saving space, and it's easier to do that because everything I'm going to interpret has meaning and is not just a shortcut, this would imply that these are past games, that this is someone else's journey through the island. These are leftover things, because one thing I say is I can't find the cameras. If these are live feeds, I should be able to spot the cameras. Why can't I? One answer would, of course, be this is all a simulation, the camera's invisible. The other would be that there used to be a camera there, and these are past games, which is especially an interesting idea because that makes us the witness. We are viewing someone else's progress. It is similar to ours, but different, and we are now seeing it. So the idea of showing us someone else's game is very interesting because we haven't seen the ending yet in my playthrough, but in the normal ending, the Willy Wonka ending, everything resets and you kind of start over. So we could assume that we are seeing other people's journey through this, or maybe even our own past journeys through the island. The idea is basically that they are not what we are currently doing. They are not live footage. It does also mean that, in a way, we are the witness. We are witnessing someone else's game, or even our own past game. The idea that what we've done in the past versus what we've done now are separate things, and now we are going back and reflecting upon that is an interesting interpretation. Also, just wild speculation. There's something about these images and these areas that whoever put those cameras there deem as important. So there's something important about that treetop area and it being set up in that particular way. Perhaps this is meant to imply that that is the more correct way to do things. Something that I've brought up many times is that a lot of the puzzles have multiple solutions. Perhaps there is one that is more correct than the others. Perhaps seeing these screenshots of past attempts where the puzzles were set up in certain ways is whoever's in charge making note of this is the correct way to do it. So perhaps something we should investigate is going back to the treehouse area and making sure our progress matches that in the screenshot. There's just a theory for you. Hope you enjoy it. All right, so that one's shooting at the beginning area. Ooh, and it looks like it's way out there. I just might not be able to see that one because it's so far away. And then, what is this, a helicopter? This is right above the town. So, I will ask you, Matthias, since I've just walked in here and you're here to watch. Do you want to go camera hunting, or should I go deep into the mountain? What do you feel like watching me do? It's a goddamn helicopter above the town? Deep into the mountain. Here we go. Cable? No, I didn't actually think about that. This cable? Yeah, so I'm assuming the reason this one is not lit up is because I haven't completed this line. I think that'll power up this cable here. But this lit cable seems to just go into this here box. I don't see it coming out anywhere. So I think it just powered open the... Interesting. All right. What is that? I don't think I've been here. So this is just a little bit of foreshadowing. This is, in fact, an area that we have not gotten to. This is a hidden area that is deep, deep within the volcano. I'm trying to say volcano instead of mountain because it's a volcano. And this is, I think, a clever way to let the player know, hey, there's something you haven't seen yet. This will happen again. I'll pop up and point it out when it does, but that is the main crux of why this is here. But I do want to say, this is kind of an odd area to point out. There's really nothing in that area. It's just kind of a stairwell and not like a well-built one. It's a wooden stairwell. There's no puzzles in this area. So I don't know what's important about this area. I'm going to have to double check. I think there might be an audio log there, but for the most part, there's really nothing worth seeing in this picture. If this is meant to imply that the cameras are showing previous plays, why are we seeing this? There's literally nothing to see there. If this is implying that this is supposed to be a live camera feed and they're just using the assets to make that run as easy as possible, and we should interpret this as their live cameras, why does there need to be a live camera there? What needs to be monitored in such a way that they would want to see whatever happens in that area when there's no panels to interact with? It's just kind of a stairwell. If I'm correct in which stairwell that is, it's kind of an open area with some of the hardest puzzles in it. So it's not like that particular stairwell leads to an important place. It just kind of leads to more puzzles. So I find it very strange that that is an image that appears on these screens. Unless that's just a weird point of view of maybe the steps into the... Oh, there's the cable. The steps into the freaking windmill. Into the mountain. We have to go deeper. Deep into the mountain. It's pretty dark. All right. So, oh, this is like, was it the Sears Tower that has this like area you can step on? I'm about to get super over analytical. So what I say here is true. That is a feature that is in the Sears Tower, now known as the Willis Tower. It is a tourist attraction of sorts. It's called the Ledge, and it is an area of one of the tallest buildings in the world where you get to step out onto a glass floor and be surrounded entirely by glass, very, very high up, so you can look straight down to the ground and really get a view of how high up you are in the safety of still being inside the building. Now, there's a lot of other towers that actually have this. One article that I read said that it was mainly created to solve the Ferris Bueller problem. In the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, there's a moment where they stand up and they lean their foreheads on the glass of a very tall skyscraper so that they can look down. And this was a common occurrence. So all the windows tended to have forehead imprints that constantly needed to be cleaned. By creating this area where you can actually step out onto the glass, they don't need to lean against the windows anymore, and there's less need to be constantly cleaning the windows, which I think is hilarious. I did some research, and this was originally opened in 1974, so this is definitely something that existed before the creation of this game, so it could be something that is an intentional reference. But let's take all that information and push it all together. If this is there to create the feeling of being able to look straight down the whole crux of the mountain. That would imply two things. One, it implies that there were people there in this facility who were not really employees. You know, the people who work at the building that are very, very tall, that work in these skyscrapers, I'm sure they do this when they first start working there and go, wow, my office is really, really high. But eventually the novelty wears off. But if it's constantly full of tourists who have never been there, then it becomes a constant problem. So this would imply that the people coming into this facility are tourists of sorts. They're people that are not going to get used to the idea of, wow, I'm really tall in this mountain and I want to look down. Find that to be a very interesting little fact that seems to be included here. There's also the fact that to get through this area, you need to draw a line, you know, like you do in everything in the Witness, and then walk across it. While walking across that line, there's no guardrails or anything like that, and you can clearly look over the side of that line and look all the way down the mountain. To include this glass version would imply that maybe some people are scared to walk across the line, or that you were never actually meant to. Because if you can just walk across the line and look down, why do you need the glass? So just some interesting tidbits that I came up with in this very interesting and intentional design choice for this area. That's like the glass. Ah. Oh, it's so far away. Why make it so difficult? Oh, there's dots I can't see. Here. Go up. There we go. Yay. This would be easier if I could see the damn puzzles. I beat this like a few years ago, so I don't honestly remember. Let me go up the steps. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, this will help things up. Another screen. Yeah, that's this. Yeah, that's what I thought. I've just forgot it. Okay, so that's a... I want to separate this. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Yes. Hi. So it bothers me that Player Noah never mentions the window that's weirdly in the wall. Now I know that behind that there is a stairwell, but I don't know if you can actually get behind that window because Player Noah never gets the intel needed to really think about this. So I just wanted to point this out. It seems perfectly sized to stick a panel in there, so perhaps an additional panel is supposed to be there. But it is unclear, based on the data we have, if that is broken or if that is meant to be there, if there's meant to imply that there's an area behind this, perhaps you can get behind the panels and fix things or install them. I am not sure, and it remains unclear for now. This is something that needs more investigation, so I pose it to you. What's that hole? Is it a window? What's going on there? Yeah, that's right. Wait. Yeah. Wait, I can still... There we go. I can still get to the soundy clip. Yeah, because it's very Portal almost in the way that this looks, because it's semi see-through. It's kind of like the light bridge. It's hard light. Can I do this? Oh, I can. It's just difficult. All right, so I separate and I separate. You gotta keep them separated. I separate, and we good? No, I didn't separate those two. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Whoops. No, that doesn't work. Okay. Do, 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 do. Oh, hold on. Gotta get that dot. Gotta get that dot. Nope, that doesn't work either. Nope, that doesn't work. Ooh. Why is this so difficult all of a sudden? Okay. I do this. That cuts. Well, come on. This line is out of its mind. And then boom. That should be good. Yes. Yes. I feel like the game gives me the middle finger in this part. Oh, the game gives you the middle finger all the time. Like, the quote I always bring up is Jonathan Blow claimed that this game doesn't waste your time. This game totally wastes your time as much as possible. So I actually get this quote incorrect, and I can't actually find the quote. But the quote that I'm discussing is apparently, and again I can't find it, Jonathan Blow says that this game respects your time. Not that it doesn't waste your time, it respects your time. And there's a article about this made by Rock Paper Shotgun, also discussing a Joseph Anderson video about how The Witness is a great game you shouldn't play. Joseph Anderson's another YouTuber that basically has played all the games that I've played and has a remarkably different reaction to all of them. So if you want to check that out, his channel, go ahead. I'll throw a little thing here for you to check that out. But I wanted to bring this up because I truly believe that the game The Witness does respect your time, in that it is truly up to you, the player, how much you want to accomplish. I truly think that one of the big messages of The Witness is if you are frustrated and no longer want to play, then don't. I think the fact that the environmental puzzles, as far as I can see, there will be more investigation on this hopefully very soon, do not actually have much of a function other than, hey, you found them. There's nothing locked away and locked behind a wall that you cannot see unless you do everything. Implies that you don't need to. You can choose how to spend your time. You can walk away from a puzzle if it is too frustrated. You can choose not to do it. You can also choose to stop playing. You can choose whether or not you need to light all the lasers or just the ones that you like and understand. You can choose whether opening the mountain is enough for you to stop playing Yahtzee. It is up to you what you put into it. And the game gives you the freedom to accept as much of the game as you need and to reject those that you don't feel like doing. That is my feeling and my interpretation of that quote that comes up a lot when it comes to this game. Look at this puzzle. Oh, look at this. Alright, so that's a 4, and it looks like there's a 4 connected to it. So I gotta use my brain, which is like my least favorite thing to do. Because it's got to be 4 and 4, but it can be 4 in any direction as long as I include both of them. So it could be this 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 4 and 4. That separates that white, that separates that black, and then I just do no. I just come on. I just do this. Yes. It's good to know that something's been powered. Don't know what that is. Popping up again. See? Told you I'd pop up. That's more of that hidden area. Just wanted to say that I did it. And I popped up like I said I would. Back to the Let's Play. I'm pretty good at this. I know that me being up there with the statues did not prove that I'm good at this, but I can be. I can be good at this when we want to talk. All right. I'm sure when this goes to YouTube, people are screaming at me that I didn't hit this. Oh God, look at that. Look at that puzzle. Oh my God, look at this man. You okay, bro? What are you reaching for? Your desk? Is there something up there? What is he reaching for? Whatever's this is? It's just a desk, bro. Dude, get out of there. Ooh, he's actually in a cubicle. So he's just being crushed by the weight. Maybe this is like, is this Jonathan Blow and the weight of his own game? I want to make out with him. Blah. So this is something I want to discuss. This man is being crushed by cubicles. It definitely seems to be implying the idea of the stress of work collapsing around him. But I want to point out, because player Noah misses this, he doesn't seem to be aware of it. He is reaching up to grab something. He's not protecting himself. I think this is perhaps meant to show us like the corporate ladder, trying to climb your way up and out of your current position into another one, rather than being crushed and defeated. That's my interpretation. Also, you can see a screen in this shot that's from the trial. That's like the most secret area of the Witness, I think. If there's something more secret, I haven't found it yet. Matter of fact, I don't think anyone has. Well, debatable, I guess. But in any case, this is one of the tip-top secret things, even though there's a trophy attached to it. All right, I want to listen to this.
The relation between the controller and the controlled is reciprocal. The scientist in the laboratory studying the behavior of a pigeon designs contingencies and observes their effects. His apparatus exerts a conspicuous control of the pigeon, but we must not overlook the control exerted by the pigeon. The behavior of the pigeon has determined the design of the apparatus and the procedures in which it is used.
Okay.
Some such reciprocal control is characteristic of all science. As Francis Bacon put it, nature, to be commanded, must be obeyed. The scientist who designs a cyclotron is under the control of the particles he is studying. The behavior with which a parent controls his child, either aversively or through positive reinforcement, is shaped and maintained by the child's responses. A psychotherapist changes the behavior of his patient in ways which have been shaped and maintained by his success in changing that behavior. A government or religion prescribes and imposes sanctions selected by their effectiveness in controlling citizen or communicant. An employer induces his employees to work industriously and carefully with wage systems determined by their effects on behavior. The classroom practices of the teacher are shaped and maintained by the effects on his students. In a very real sense, then, the slave controls the slave driver, the child, the parent, the patient, the therapist, the citizen, the government, the communicant, the priest, the employee, the employer, and the student, the teacher. B.F. Skinner, 1971.
Skinner. I know who B.F. Skinner is. B.F. Skinner is the opposite of Pavlov. It's been a while. I'm accessing an old part of my brain right now. Behavioral psychiatrist, basically, or psychologist. Skinner believed that, or rather Pavlov, we'll start with Pavlov. Pavlov's dog, which was like, I can train this dog to salivate at the sound of a bell. I can take something unrelated and make it learn a reaction. Skinner was all about unlearned reactions. If I walk in and I smile at you, there is a biological, already known reaction to it, just kind of built into you. Like, no one ever taught you that smiling means you're happy. It is an unlearned reaction. I believe that is Skinner. It's been, I'm accessing something like way deep in the brain, but I remember always remembering it as Skinner being the opposite of Pavlov. So I kind of like the idea here of, even if you're testing someone, they are testing based off of the abilities that we have. So if we look at this, first off, it sounds very Hitchhiker's Guide. Because in Hitchhiker's Guide, spoilers, the smartest creature on Earth is revealed to be not humans, not even dolphins, but mice. And mice were studying humans by pretending to be the subjects of their experiments. So in the experiments that we were performing on them, they were able to learn so much about us. I just thought that was interesting. In terms of what we're doing right now, you can kind of put a comparison to game testing in this. Like, because remember when I immediately said, I was like, oh, it's Jonathan Blow being crushed by work. But to create this game, it is dictated by how we interpret it and what we can do in it. And there may have been things that Jonathan Blow wanted us to discover on our own, and either the limitations of the hardware and the game didn't allow it, or the way that the players were constantly interacting with it meant that it was not an easy skill to get across. A great example that I can think of, there's a part in Portal 2 where you're given these gels that like either make you bounce or make you like move faster, and you do a bunch of puzzles with them. And then they discovered that after doing these puzzles, they would get to the next room and get stuck because they forgot they had a portal gun in Portal. So what the designers did was, in between those two particular chambers, as you're walking down the pathway breaks, so you have to portal across it, just to remind the player, like, hey, you have this portal gun and let you go across gaps. So, in a way, the way we as players interact with the software affects the way that Jonathan Blow would have to design this game. And I also want to bring this up because it was said to me, it might have been you, Matthias, that even brought this up. It's unfair to just call this Jonathan Blow's game. He did work with a team. It's just easier to say Jonathan Blow. But Jonathan Blow and his team had to affect this. Coming in a little bit late here because I wanted to let Player Noah finish, but I think some of the comments here about B.F. Skinner that Player Noah makes is great, but I do want to fill in a few gaps. There is the idea that Blow, Jonathan Blow, and his team who created this game are testing us and thinking about how he implemented things to teach us things. There is this idea of, if he wants us to learn, there are certain things he must include. He includes positive and negative reinforcement, not to be confused with punishment, I'll get to that. But there's the positive reinforcement that when you solve a puzzle, it goes boosh and fills you with that joy and gives you the good brain juice. And when you do not do something right, it gives you the sound, and sometimes stuff flashes red to let you know how wrong that is. That is negative reinforcement. That's not the good sound you want, that's a bad sound that you don't like. And that's the main crux of the puzzles of the Witness. Positive reinforcement, yeah, you did it. Negative reinforcement, no, you didn't. There is also punishment in the Witness, but it's rare. It mainly exists, if I'm remembering this correctly, in the area of the orchard and the bamboo sound forest. When you get a puzzle wrong in that area, you have to go back and do the previous puzzle. That is to teach you the lesson that you can't just brute force this and randomly guess until you're correct. Those puzzles specifically have much less possible solutions, or possible guesses, I guess would be a better word for this case, than your standard puzzles. The sound puzzles, often there are 3 possible choices you can make. Jonathan Blow includes punishment in this area to make you actually stop and think, is this correct? Because there will be consequences to being wrong in those scenarios. I don't think Jonathan Blow wants the Witness to be punishing. He doesn't want you to feel like you've done something wrong when you've made an incorrect assumption about a puzzle, an incorrect guess, But to prevent you from doing something that is truly wrong, brute force, he has to provide a consequence to not fully thinking through your ideas before trying them. I think this is basically Jonathan Blow's main goal with the game, is to teach you without punishment. But this wasn't the original goal of this game. We know that in an interview he mentioned kind of the idea of the environmental puzzles in terms of a game about spells. He talks about that to cast a spell you would have to draw a shape. And then he had this idea that at one point you ascend a mountain, or I don't know, a volcano, and saw that the river was in the shape of a spell, but a spell that you've never used before. So if you were smart enough, you could learn, hey, that might be a spell. And then you got a new spell that learned something kind of cool that you taught yourself on your own. Whatever that game was apparently didn't work and became whatever the Witness is now. So based off of the feedback of the player, he couldn't create the game that he wanted. And I think that's an interesting thing to discuss, in that the way that Jonathan Blow has taught us may prevent us from learning other things. I think a great example of this is what I was saying before. When you create a puzzle correctly, it makes good noise. When you do it wrong, you get bad noise. However, there's an environmental puzzle that can only be solved by doing the puzzle incorrectly, so that the line turns the correct color so you can finish it. So in order to actually solve that part of the game, you must reject the things that have been taught to us by Jonathan Blow. So I think that type of communication and that conflict is kind of being expressed in this quote, in that there may be stuff that Jonathan Blow wants us to know, but based off of our relationship that he's created, we might miss it because he can't communicate those other ideas to us. It also reflects back to another quote that's in here, that when interpreting a painting, I think it is, we learn more about the person who painted than the thing that they tried to paint. There is basically a relationship and a conversation that you build with Jonathan Blow by playing this game, because he communicates how the game works, and then you take that data, interpret it, and then try to complete the game. This may imply that there is more that needs to be learned, but it is not communicated the way that Jonathan Blow usually communicates things, thus it's hard to find. This is again just leading me back to say, hey, there's multiple solutions. Maybe there is one that is more correct than others, but the game, the puzzle, Jonathan Blow, doesn't know how to communicate that with us, and we have to figure that out on our own. A lot of 8 years development. That's crazy. Thank you. I love a game where I can kind of sit and philosophize, which I know is not a word, but it's one of my favorite words to use, is philosophize. I'm going to move this track so that we can do some puzzles a little bit easier here. Or they could have been talking about the video game control. Not going to weigh that out either. I'm kidding, of course. So I want to try this. I want to be able to be like, kablam. And then I want to come back here. Oh, of course that's broken. Of course that's broken. I'm going to do this. There we go. You know what? I think the pile in the middle is not going to let me do what I want to do. Grumble. For me, this quote also means that playing the game is not a one-directional experience, but an act of communication. I love that. I absolutely love that. I know you messaged or you commented on one of my videos, but I'll explain this for everybody else. If you have not checked out my playthrough of the not prawn riddle, there are some really good moments in it where oh, that's right, it's all off center. Oh, I hate this level. I actually say, I was like, oh, the creator is talking to me. Like, it wants me to make this jump in conclusion so it can respond to me. I love those moments in that game. That is actually a very common theory that I continue to talk about to this very day. This was recorded like a long time ago, and it's something that I've continued to kind of develop, this kind of way that you get to know somebody based on the way that they create puzzles. Check out A Decadent Mind, check out Maka's puzzle, Operation Voss, and check out all the Ignomatics to see how different people try to communicate information through puzzles. I mean, and that's what this playthrough is all about. It's all about trying to have this conversation with Jonathan Blow and figure out, what he really wanted from us. Oh, your game is broken. It's also interesting that the quote about that I'm at least putting on the meaning of game design and beta testing is in the area with the broken puzzles. I mean, it also looks very much like a lab where it would test human subjects on stuff. I also want to go in there. I haven't gone in there, and I'd like to. Ooh, this is especially weird. Okay. 3 up. 1, 2, 3. And then I need to go make this L piece, which can rotate, so it can be like... Ooh, I don't like how I have to do this. Ooh, I don't like this at all. Okay, go back. 1, 2, 3. Is there another 3 here? Oh, that's a huge problem. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then it's probably 3 up. 1, 2, 3. And then I gotta run into this thing, so it's probably like that. No, I can't do that. This can rotate, so that can be the 3 here. 1, 2, 3. And then, well, actually, it would stop there, and then it could be, there'd be 3 across. Ooh, I'm all crazy. You can you rotate pieces? Can rotated pieces be connected? Yes, they can. They absolutely can. So if it's 3 up, and then I could actually do it. I could do this. That would be correct. And then I would have to just come down here, and this isn't good either. Because that would 1, 2, 3. Like, that would be correct, but there's not an exit that way. I could also make this. Oh, I got it. The 3 now connect to the L piece, which is here. 1, 2. And then this is the 3 piece here, but I didn't encapsulate that thing, so it's wrong. It's 3 across, then, no, because, wait, I did this entirely wrong. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. L piece. Yeah, there. Nope, I'm dumb. I'm going to try to get into that room, and then I kind of actually have to go for the day, because I actually have to record the stuff for the YouTube version of The Witness, because I'm super behind on all my editing. Dude, you haven't released one of these in months. You should probably get on your editing. I want to make sure I can get to that area. So what do I want to do? How do I do this? I could do 4 this way. that let me get to where I want to go? No. Okay. So I need to go around that thing first. Yeah, so I should make that... Okay. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so... I can rotate this. I can rotate this. So I can do... that. But no, how did I walk through that the first time? I think it was like this, right? Right? How was that wrong? Oh, I didn't separate. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I gotta come up and around like that. Okay. That should be good. Because I got to walk through the pillar, and I think I've done that. Right? Where's the area I walk through? No, it's on the other freaking side. Damn it. I can see this puzzle now, which is something. So maybe I'll just do this and then call it. Is that a 2 dot or a 3? I think that's a 3 dot. So 1, 2, 3, then 2 upright. Oh, so it would have to be 1, 2, 3, 2 upright. So that would work. But I'm not separating anything currently. So let me separate this, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, like that, and then I separate this, and then we're good. Multiple correct answers possible for this one. Multiple correct answers. When I was there, I visualized the center passage like an invisible straight line. That's a good way to do it. So I need that like curve. I need to go in this way and out that way. Okay. And that's going to do it for this edition of Solving the Witness. Let's go through this episode's takeaways. 1, the screens that you see. They are not actually tied to your progress. Is this meant to just be an easier way to use assets to communicate the idea that you've been watched and someone is witnessing your progress? Or is this more deep and trying to tell us that this is not footage of the current run you're on? This is a previous run of yours, or perhaps even the run of someone else. Also, why these particular areas? There's the storage in the shady trees episode area. There's the treetops, and then various areas of the hidden area and the trial. Why are these being chosen to be monitored? Is it just foreshadowing to let the player know that there is an area that you've yet to see, or is there more to it? Leave your thoughts in those comments down below. The idea of this weird observation platform where part of it is glass so you can see all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. Why is that there? Does it imply that this is a tourist area and that they would bring in lots of people who would want to see this? Let me know your thoughts on that. What is that tiny window that player Noah didn't seem to think was interesting at all? Tell me about that. Do you think that this game respects your time? That is a quote that apparently Jonathan Blow made, but I can't actually find the actual quotation. Can you find it? Let me know. And also, do you think the game respects your time? What do you think of the man being crushed in the cubicles? Is this a man being buried by work? Or is this a man trying to climb his way up the corporate ladder? What do you think about Skinner and the idea that the person is being controlled by that in which they control? Does the person being observed have power over the person witnessing their experiment? Let me know your thoughts on that and the idea of communicating with puzzles. What do these puzzles tell us about Jonathan Blow and the way his mind thinks? Let me know in the comments down below. Solving the Witness should be back more regularly because I'm out of footage of other games. So if I want to continue to put out videos every weekday, Some of them have to be solving the witness, so that should get me off my butt to make these actually happen. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you can catch up on all my past live streams, and you'll get a notification next time we decide to solve the witness.